Okay, let's get right into it. What if I told you meditation isn't about trying hard, but about, well, not trying at all? We're going to explore this really cool idea that the mind has its own built-in GPS for finding a quiet, peaceful state. And it's all guided by these natural laws, just like, gravity or a river flowing downstream. It's pretty fascinating stuff. So, let's dive in.
So here's the big question we're starting with. What if you didn't have to force your mind to be quiet? Forget all that intense focus and control. What if you could just let go? Seriously, the whole idea here is that your mind wants to find peace. It knows the way. All we have to do is set up the right conditions and then get out of its way. It's a really powerful shift in thinking, and that's what we're going to unpack.
Right, so if we're going on a journey, we need to know where we're headed. And in this way of looking at things, the mind isn't just drifting around. Nope, it's actually moving towards a very specific destination. And that destination has a name: creative intelligence. Creative intelligence. Sounds a little lofty, right? But think of it like this. It's the underlying operating system of nature. You know, that smart, innovative, orderly force that makes things grow and function? And here's the kicker. You don't have to build it or earn it. It's already there, deep inside your own awareness. The entire journey is just about finding the path to get there.
Okay, so how do we actually start this thing? The best way to think about it is like diving into the ocean. You don't muscle your way to the bottom, right? No, you take the right angle, you let go, and gravity does the rest. It's a beautiful analogy for how this works. Let's look at what that means in practice. It basically comes down to three super simple things. First, you take the correct angle, and that's done with what's called a mantra. It's just a specific sound or thought that gets you pointed in the right direction. Step 2, you let go. This part is huge. They call it innocent liveliness, which just means you're awake, you're aware, but you're not trying to do anything. You're just there. And then the final step is to just let your mind do its thing. Allow it to dive naturally. That's it.
But wait a minute, if you're just letting go, what's actually steering the ship? What's guiding your mind? This is where it gets really interesting. The idea is that your mind is being pulled inward by these powerful natural forces, kind of like how gravity pulls an apple to the ground. You don't see the force, but it's definitely there.
Okay, check this out. There are basically three automatic principles at play here. First, there's the principle of greater charm. It's simple. Your mind is always looking for what's more enjoyable, more fulfilling. And it turns out, the quietest, most settled states of mind are inherently the most charming. Then you've got gravity. This is that natural pull towards the source, just like a river can't help but flow to the sea. And last but not least, the principle of least action. The mind is lazy in the best way possible. It will always take the easiest, most direct path. So you see, no effort is required because these forces are doing all the heavy lifting.
Now, it's not always a perfectly smooth ride, especially when you're just starting out. And there's a good reason for that. Think of all the stress and tension we build up in our daily lives. Well, that stuff acts like little roadblocks on that inner highway.
So what does that feel like? Well, at first, that experience of deep quietness can be a little hazy, kind of like you're looking through a foggy window. But here's the important part. That doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. In fact, it's a sign that it's working. Your mind is bumping up against those stresses. And the amazing thing is, the journey itself is what starts to clear away the fog.
So you can kind of see this before and after dynamic. On one hand, you have the path with all those blocks, where stress makes the experience hazy. But as your mind settles down, your body gets this incredibly deep rest, way deeper than sleep actually. And it's that profound rest that allows those stored up stresses to just dissolve. They release naturally. So, as those roadblocks get cleared away, the ride becomes so much more comfortable and your thinking becomes clear. The path literally purifies itself.
And what's the vehicle that makes this whole ride so smooth and comfortable? Well, that's the mantra. It's specifically designed to be effortless. It's like this perfect little thought vehicle that gently carries your mind inward. No pushing, no pulling, just a smooth, easy ride towards that quiet, unbounded awareness.
All right, so we've started the dive, the path is getting clearer, but where are we actually going? What's the final stop on this journey? And maybe more importantly, what happens when we get there and how does it all connect back to our crazy, busy, everyday lives?
The destination, the goal of all this, is to transcend. That means to go completely beyond thought. Your mind gets so quiet that it arrives at the very source of where thoughts come from in the first place. And what you find there is the state of pure, silent, but totally awake awareness. It's not sleep, not at all. You're fully alert, and you're directly experiencing that creative intelligence we talked about in its most pure, unbounded state.
And that brings us to the last principle. And honestly, this might be the most practical one of the whole lot. It's called highest first. And this really ties everything together. It explains why we even take this inner journey in the first place.
Because here's the real payoff. This was never about checking out or escaping the world. It's the total opposite. The whole point is to tap into that deep reservoir of intelligence and order first, and then bring all of that good stuff, that clarity, that stability, that creativity, back out with you into your day. You touch base with that inner source of calm, and suddenly you're way more equipped to deal with all the chaos on the outside.
So, let's wrap this up. What have we learned? Basically, the mind is hardwired to seek fulfillment, to find that state of creative intelligence. The whole process is like a natural, effortless dive, guided by automatic principles like gravity and charm. And the cool thing is, the act of doing it actually clears away the stress that gets in the way. And it all leads to that highest first idea. You dive deep to tap into your best self so you can come out and be more effective in everything you do.
Which leaves us with one last big question to think about. If all these principles really are just reflections of the laws of nature, the same laws that orchestrate galaxies and make rivers flow, then what's the real potential here? What could it actually mean for our daily lives if we could regularly tap into that fundamental source of order that's already inside of us? Something to think about.